Hey, it's Minute of the Apes, the podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet Apes movies. I'm your host, Richard, and joining me are Sean and Todd, my co-hosts.
Hello.
As always, thanks to the Star Wars Minute guys, Pete and Alex. You can find them at movies@minute.com, and you can find us there as well. So, Sean, we are doing Minute
77.
Minute 77.
Mm-hmm. We're finishing with the hearing being adjourned and ending with Dr. Zay saying, well. And we've got 2 living humans, 2 dead humans. We still miss you, Dodge and Stewart. Shrewdness of apes, and a gaggle of humans.
It is worth mentioning that Sean is watching these minute by minute, so...
I don't know what's happening after this minute.
If Sean seems clueless, part of that is...
all of it
more than an act.
All of it is deliberate.
And since we're going to do the setting the table, if you hear the minute, if you hear the ape scream like this, that's because one of us have dropped what we decide is more of an objectional cuss word instead of just things you might hear in a movie like this.
Like butt or poop.
Don't do it. Anyway, so...
We have a long 40-second shot here, don't we, of them emptying the courtroom. We have the judges leaving. We have Taylor being dragged off. Then Cornelius and Zero are holding hands and exiting the courtroom. It's one whole shot.
But for the previous minutes being what I kind of liken to how a song builds crescendos, goes for a key change to go for the gut punches, we're left with a quiet moment as Taylor is drug out with a rather, I'm going to call something that has not been named it, but I have to say it to emphasize what the shot is. Taylor's drug out past the camera, and we're left over the shoulder of what's called the lawgiver.
Okay.
That statue of the orangutan standing there, looking at Cornelius and Zero, which really provides us with a very ominous moment that the laws that have been forged, now that seem like for no reason, are looking over them and suppressing them.
I had not thought of
Fantastic,
that.
Yeah. So the last minute we ended basically with the president saying the tribunal was going to end with the evidence presented, and Zaya set up Cornelius and Zira to be the ones really on trial. So this is their moment where they just realize, for all of his excitement in the last minute, for all of Cornelius is like, evolution exists. You know, this is a great place. Oh, shit. We just got over.
Wait, what did we just do? What just happened?
Kinda.
Record scratch? What?
It was we do have the moment where they kind of monkey their way out, where they walk they walk by the tables, the orangutans kind of leave.
Orangutan.
Orangutans.
And there are just the lingering shots, as you mentioned, of Cornelius and Zira.
Then
and
they look at each other and grab each other's hands.
I do love that she is a psychologist and he is a archaeologist, and science in particular is something that kind of bonds them. That she's willing to go out on a limb for his studies, and even though he may have been a little bit dowdy early on about who Taylor is, he still supported her. I mean, it is very nice to see, as much as it sucks to realize they were set up, that they are still together. This didn't drive them apart. They didn't sell the other one out.
I thought
they supported each other.
And it's part of why I brought up that over-the-shoulder shot of the lawgiver statue. I don't want to evoke 1984 in this, but there is that idea of a big brother watching them, but they still find a human connection in that, because she has a little moment of kind of reaching out for his hand, which cements, at least to what you're saying, that they are together in this. No matter how they may speak over each other, they may do things, they're together. And I just thought that was a nice, subtle moment that the film's not had a ton of subtlety.
True.
But even in that, there was a moment that we can all truly connect to. And once again, it becomes that now Zira isn't just our vessel into the story, but maybe Cornelius too, because we can see in them the gestures and ideas that we embody with our partners. We can latch onto them and follow them through the story.
This entire last court scene, and even this moment, how de-emphasized Taylor has become this entire time.
It's not so much about him anymore.
Them.
He's been muted.
He's not even there. I mean, he's just dragged in. He's dragged off.
Right.
He's muzzled. He has nothing to do here.
They've already gone through reading what he's written down, and now it's no longer about him anymore.
It's not about him. Yeah.
Well, even when we come back into moments later, and we'll jump to it when we get there, but I sense that Taylor's changing just a little bit in the way he holds himself in these moments. There's a lot of head hanging. It's not usual Charlton Heston with shoulders squared back. It's slumped shoulders, like he's beaten by this. This has
been lost.
Right.
It's been at least weeks of this, if not potentially months, from him being hurt and then healing and all that stuff. So who knows when he's reaching his breaking point.
And I'd never thought about this prior to this, but this comes out in an era when you had things like Easy Rider with the anti-hero, the idea of the hero that we follow through story who is not heroic. Yeah, were they so forward thinking in this that they decided, let's put an anti-hero here, someone
we got to remember
we can't empathize with this person.
Rod Serling's part of this, so it's a distinct possibility. I mean,
I don't know why that didn't come to me, but I mean, he just seemed like a butthole. But the truth is, maybe it was intentional. Now, as we see that with him a little dejected, we've been put through the ringer with him, and suddenly we sympathize when we see that he can't find a way for them to understand
or believe or accept or anything.
Look at Richard biting his lips.
We can't talk about future minutes. We can't.
We will in future minutes.
No, but we can't. But I think this is the moment where you begin to see maybe a transformation of that character. It really hit me. I was watching and I thought, whoa, that's not a lead person who feels embodied by the power to achieve in this story. That is a lead person who's beaten. His principles and his ideas are gone. He has to find something new to believe in. And I really think it's at this moment that maybe that's happening. And that would kind of fit, being about a little over halfway through a film. He's beginning to evolve.
Yeah. So Zira grabs Cornelius' hand, and they kind of have a moment where they pause. Then she
look at each other,
and she is the one who takes his hand and kind of leads him out of this defeated moment, leads him out of the room. And then we, still part of this minute, because it was a very long process.
Yeah, that was 40 seconds. Yeah. And then we get another 15 seconds of a door being opened and Taylor being led into a room. So, literally, this minute is one shot of people leaving a courtroom, another shot of a person being led into a room.
Right.
So, the script that I have basically mentions that when we leave this moment from the courtroom scene, it breaks to a small office at night. So they've given this script gives us a little bit of time has passed, and that's why it might be a little more dim, right? I mean, if you notice, that entire scene was just a little more dim in the office, or ominous. I mean, however you want to think about it being lit, but the script direction is that it is nighttime now.
Well, it finally has also what I've been begging for with the lighting all along, a little bit of texture to the lighting.
It's not so flat anymore.
Yeah, it's not flat at all. Because again, even during daytime, a room like that, unless it just had, even if it had a big sunlight at the top, it would have a beam of light almost to the center, and the edges would be dark. Finally, they've got texture to the setting.
The one note that I found interesting about this is it said the office is unadorned, Spartan, as that of Cornelius. In fact, with minor changes in decor, the same set can be used.
Okay, that brings up a point which I wondered, I'm curious. Do we all know what wild walls are in production?
I do.
Wild walls are when you build sections of walls.
They can move
and
away.
They can move so a camera can get in. And they'll often move the walls around to give the illusion of. And I put a note here. Would love to go back and look at the film. Try to this gets into uber nerdiness that if my wife walked in right now, she would say, "Okay,
all right, Hartzell,
don't talk about this." But I'm curious to see the sections of walls if you could identify and see that
which one is.
If it's Cornelius's office, just rearranged.
Well, I mean, if you strike the table from the would be their left right side of the set from the entrance,
and he has another table over on the right hand side.
Exactly, you strike that. There is that unusual bench-like couch that's shaped in the walls, just minus a bone. Behind Zaius in this moment.
Maybe they got that from the IKEA superstore.
That bookshelf of things is kind of now
IKEA?
Empty. The wall is now empty of things. Right. But yeah, we don't have the coat hanger.
Yeah, the coat hanger with the leashes on it or whatever.
Yeah. That wall seems to be kind of either disappeared because there was a door right there as well.
Yeah, they had a little shelf that had all the scrolls in it and a little statue on it as well.
So it's now nighttime, according to the script. Our point of view as we come out is basically on the door The two apes.
Speaking of the door, real quick, they made sure to keep what you noticed with the cage. It's not a hinge door; it's a pivot door. So they made sure to everything is a pivot door, not a hinge.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
damn it.
What I found interesting is that the apes didn't knock. They just led Taylor into the room.
Right.
There was some script direction that basically has them being announced to come in, and they just didn't do that. They just kind of walk into. This is now Zaius' office, by the way.
I do find that a very interesting shot, though, just to keep the camera on the outside of the door looking in, leaving us. It almost presents a sense of dread because we don't want to step beyond the threshold ourselves.
I can't remember.
Feels like we're moving into a prison cell. We're moving into a dangerous environment. We are now not being invited into this moment because this moment is something bad is going to happen.
And especially with the guerrilla guards just beyond it, because to get even there, we have to pass through something rather ominous, those two guards.
Right.
I can't remember who had just directed Silence of the Lambs.
Jonathan Demme.
I think it was him that said it, that said that one of the scariest things that you can ever see is walking up to a closed door because you don't know what's on the other side of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so that's why you had a whole lot of coming up on closed doors and Silence of the Lambs,
Right.
especially in the basement and stuff like that. So you're coming up to, we don't know what's behind that door. And so it's a little more, it adds a little more tension to it. They made sure to really oil up Charlton Heston for this scene, didn't they?
He was kind of greasy.
The again, the script that I have basically
Greasy.
does the opposite. We actually see Cornelius and we see the apes come in that way. So there was a choice made to actually move from the outside,
people going out,
as
people
opposed to
going
being
in
from the inside, and then him coming in that way.
That's in the script. That's interesting.
Yeah, that they made that change. So at this point, we kind of get the apes basically bring Taylor in. Zaius tells them to wait outside. You see them kind of position themselves on either side of the door, and Taylor is still kind of manacled and collared and so on. He's just kind of pushed to, if you will, the center, the side of the room where he's just by himself. He's got nothing, no desk, no support. He's just kind of there.
With the strangest binding to the stick with a collar around his neck,
yeah.
both his hands being grasping in it.
So I didn't notice. I don't know when I first noticed that, but I wanted to ask, when do we first see that? That's
I think that's the first time we've seen him tied up like that.
Is it in this minute?
Yeah.
This minute, excuse me. Finally, there's efficient binding.
Yeah.
He's had his arms free and swinging around before, and finally they went, hey.
It's either just him basically holding his hands in front of him or hands behind him.
Right.
And now they've really tied him down for once.
Because that does look incredibly painful.
Yes.
However, these are the moments, too, that I have the notes for the first time. What do they do to Taylor in this moment? His head is hanging, he looks sweaty, and he looks beaten down. That's where I got these thoughts from.
Right.
When he's let in there, his head is just down.
As much as it can be with that stick behind.
True, but he's defeated. Yeah. He is just done.
He lost his advocates.
Maybe that's
He's
it.
just discovered that Zira and Cornelius have no power in this situation.
Maybe that is it. Maybe he feels that he has nothing in this world that ties to hope.
No, he's a prisoner. He can't escape.
He has no power to control his own destiny.
Advocates that were listening to him, talking to him, are gone. We may get in it the next couple of minutes coming forward. But so this minute kind of concludes with Zaius saying that, well, the verdict is in.
While he's smoking the biggest blunt I've ever seen.
So, by the way, I posted this on our Twitter feed the other day. There is a picture of, it's sort of a production still of Maurice Evans in makeup holding that, but he's holding it with like two fingers up like you used to see in the 60s and 70s, like with the cigarette right beside him, and it's a long filter is what is on it. Yeah.
All right.
It's one of those smoking filters.
I just thought he was getting bait.
For class.
All right. That's another thing. We're seeing more human, what we consider human because they're apes, activities that they're taking. Now he's smoking a cigarette.
He's smoking and hanging out. He's chilling.
Yeah.
And he's got a new jacket on.
He just
that's true. Yeah.
It's his smoking
clothes.
jacket.
Yeah.
Literally.
His
420 jacket.
He's casual. He's happy. He's relaxed.
I'm going with the fact that they're smoking cannabis during this. That's what my story is, and I'm sticking to it.
Apes on weed.
There you go.
That is a subset of this world.
Isn't
Apes
that a
on
song?
weed.
Apes on weed.
It is now.
Isn't that a map of Colorado we saw?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like I like the set decorations and stuff like this, just to show like the little scroll that he has on his table that he's sitting at. That their society is based on scroll as his paperwork. So he has a little statue scroll on his desk. I don't know if you noticed